Hey guys, so I wasn't able to record the session that we had at 1 o'clock, so I'm just going to record it by myself and show you the demonstration, just me doing it, not, uh, you know, I was recording the session, but some things were happening. There was some hiccups, and I had to end the meeting and go back and forth. So I'm just gonna record myself doing the demonstration. Next time, I'll try to be more prepared and try to record the session because it was a lot of fun. Quite a few students came, and we just had fun, like creating art together, and it was just great seeing their faces and interacting with each other and just making art together. It was great, and I'm definitely going to do it again. So if you weren't able to join the session, that's okay. There'll be plenty of opportunities to join. But for now, I'm going to show you guys that didn't end up joining the session how to draw value. It's You need to know how to draw. In order to draw realistically, you have to know how light reflects off surfaces and how to create value in your drawings. If you don't have great value in your drawings or even paintings, it can make your artwork look flat and 2D, and that's not what we're trying to go for. We're trying to make the illusion of 3D art. And in order to do that, you gotta be able to create value in your artwork. So what you're gonna need is a blank piece of paper. And I got my sketchbook and a pencil. I have a 2B drawing pencil, but if you have a number 2 pencil, that's fine. Don't use a mechanical pencil. Yeah, so blank piece of paper and a pencil, okay? Oh, and an eraser. You need an eraser. Okay, so if your number 2 pencil has an eraser at the end, good. So let's get started on this. I'm gonna turn this around. I'm sitting right by a window because it has good lighting. I feel like every place in my house is dark. So this is kind of only the spot I could find that has good lighting. And I want you guys to be able to see this. So let's see, let me get ready here. Okay, so we got our paper right here. Okay, so to draw, if you've never drawn before, a good tip is to have your hand position an inch up from the end of the pencil. So you want to have it an inch up. You don't want to have it all the way at the end because it's just going to be too tight and you won't be able to kind of draw, right? You want to have it up an inch up, and you want to use your wrist to kind of flick. And you want to have your pinky like just sliding like this. So I want you to draw everything that I'm drawing, and you're gonna turn it in by taking a picture of it. So we're gonna just make lines, and we're gonna just like flick our wrist and kind of do this fast motion. We're just drawing lines. And next to these lines, I want you to draw circles and kind of do this like continuous. Try not to draw like this. Don't do like dab, 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 dab. You want to draw a continuous line. All right, same with these circles. Just be really loose with it. Draw some circles. Don't draw too big because you're gonna take up this whole paper. This is kind of the stuff we're gonna be drawing. Let's see. Yeah, this is the one I was doing last night. Yeah, so we're gonna do these exercises first. We're gonna do these lines and then circles, and then I'm gonna talk about value and how to create value and kind of the do's and don'ts of creating value. And then I drew that vase right there. But yeah, so so try not to draw too big because you're gonna take up a lot of your paper. Okay. So you drew some lines. Now we want to create some value. Value is it's the lightness and darkness of a color. And in order to draw value, you have to, there's different ways to do it. So you can draw value by just holding your pencil like this, right? And kind of just gradually lifting off, right? But this has some texture, right? It's not as soft. So to create a soft value, so this would be great for like cross-hatching, kind of like in comic book drawings, if you're like holding it like this, right? But for a softer approach, you want to turn your pencil around like this. So you're holding it like this, right? You want to turn it around and you want to hold it like this with the end of at this side kind of resting on your palm. And then you're going to just gradually make some value. So I'm starting with the dark end first. So this is a softer approach. And next to this, I want you to draw a box, like a rectangular box right here. And I want you to practice making gradation. Gradation. So when you're shading and stuff, you can also, and even making lines too, you can turn your paper around so you got a better angle. And I'm going to hold my pencil like this. I'm going to start with the dark value and then just slowly lift off the pressure. So when you're making dark values, in other words, you're making shades. So this is a shade, and this is going to be the tint. Tints and shades. I'm sure you've heard me talk about tints and shades before, but gradation is the transition from dark to light, light to dark, the transition. So dark to light. And this is how you draw soft value, by holding your pencil like this, and you're turning it around, right? So gradation. Okay. You can even use your finger or like a paper towel to kind of like rub it a little bit, kind of make it even more softer and get rid of those lines, right? All right, so we're creating the illusion of form, putting more depth by creating value. Now what I want you to do is I want you to draw 2 cups. And you're going to start by drawing ovals. And then, so that's the top of the cup, right, the inside. And then you're going to draw the sides. Remember, I'm kind of just like doing one continuous line. I'm not going, dun, 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 not like this. I mean, it's okay to do that, but for this exercise, I would try practicing, using your wrist and doing like one continuous line and being really kind of flowy. All right, and then we're going to draw the base. See, even right there, I kind of did that, and that's okay, but for this, try not to do that. All right, so I got my 2 cups. I'm going to show you the do's and don'ts of drawing value. So people tend to, especially beginners, they tend to outline in bold. They'll outline it really dark, right? Oh, and I forgot to mention, so yeah, when you're drawing these cylinders, draw lightly. Don't draw like super bold, like right off the bat. Because what beginners tend to do is they'll draw in their value after they did their outline, and then they just you can still see that outline. And we don't want outlines, we want edges. And I'll show you what an edge looks like on this cylinder, but you can kind of see how this just looks really flat. And that is a big no-no when creating drawings and painting. You don't want it to look flat. If it looks flat, it's just not realistic, and it's not interesting, and it's just childish, to be honest. Right? It's like the same. It's not the same as doing stick figures, but it's, some people can say that. So again, can I zoom in? Yeah, I can zoom in. You can see these outlines right here, and we don't want that. We want to create value. So when we're creating value, we want to create edges. So I'm going to actually turn this around. That way my wrist can do the work and it's not in an awkward kind of position. And I'm creating edges. So I'm starting with the dark, the shade, I should say, and then working my way out to this highlight right here. So what we have here are highlights. I'm going to erase this line that I have right here. So what we have are highlights, and shadows. So right here, I'm going to make a cast shadow. So say if the light was reflecting right here, I'm going to draw a little light source, maybe like a sun, right? I'm going to just write light source. Light source. So if the light is coming down here and it's reflecting off this object, this is where the highlight's going to be. And then it's going to cast the shadow right there. Right? So we're creating edges, not outlines. And you'll be able to tell the difference soon. So this cup, it's not that round, right? So I'm going to show you in a sec like how to make a pot or how to draw a pot. But since this is pretty straight, we don't have to like curve our pencil, right? We can just go straight up and down. But like I'm even holding it like this, like my fingers are all, look how far my fingers are up, and I'm going like that. If you have it down here, it's going to be too tight. You got to be loose with it. And I'm even going to, I'll go back and turn my pencil over and turn my paper. All right, so we're creating edges. And then I'm going to draw like a background right here. And draw another background over here. So let's look and see the difference. Can you see the difference? How I created like edges and not just one bold outline. This is a flat. This is flat. Whoops. Can't spell. Flat. Right? And this is 3D. Does that make sense? So, and also, when you're creating value, you're going to have some contrast between light and dark. Contrast is just it's a striking difference between two elements. So for this one, I'm going to darken it a lot, and this will be a high contrast. And then I'm gonna see here. I'm gonna just lighten it a little bit, not as much. So this is gonna be a low contrast. All right. So as you can see, this bold outline, it's just, there's too much contrast between this bold outline and this value right here. This doesn't have much contrast. I mean, I could make a lot of contrast, but by really darkening this value right here, but you kind of want to stay away from that. You don't want it to be, I don't know. I tend to make my drawings a little softer and less bold, but that could be not great as well because it doesn't put a lot of depth into your drawing. But you don't want to overdo it. Right? So that's it really. But you can see the difference, right? Okay. So what I want you guys to do also is I want you to try to draw a pot, like a bigger pot or a bigger piece, I should say. In order to do that, you're gonna again use your wrist, and your pinky's just gonna be sliding like this, and you're just I'm gonna draw a pot. It's kind of like the circles. I'm just going back and forth, right? Sorry, that line was a little shaky, but I'm just gonna go back and forth, and then you're gonna see in a little bit. I'm gonna get my eraser and kind of clean it up a bit, but to do the other line, it's kind of awkward. You can't really turn your wrist that way, right? It doesn't go that way. If you're left-handed, you can. But so in order to make this line that is, goes along with this curvature, or I should say the opposite, you're going to turn your paper around. And then I'm going to draw a line that goes with this pot. And it's going to take a couple tries. And you don't have to turn it every time, but now I'm going to go back with an eraser. I'm just going to use this number 2 pencil eraser. And I'm just going to look at the lines. And then, oh, I'm sorry. We want to draw an oval up here. This is going to be the inside of your pot, right? Probably should have done that first, but that's okay. And take your time. Don't rush it. And I'm going to turn it around. Let's see what it looks like. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to make a bigger piece and create value. In order to do that, you're going to have to draw these lines. So I'm not even turning I'm kind of just like using my whole arm. I'm not just doing my wrist. You can use your whole arm. That's okay. And go back and kind of just, it's like the circles. You're kind of just like, going back and forth. And I'm going to clean it up with my eraser again. I don't know, I can add little details, maybe do a little curve right there. I don't know. For the sake of time, I don't want to. But for the value for this, you're going to, since there's more of a curve and not just one straight line like these cups, you're going to have to kind of go with the curvature. And you're going to shade in a lot. And remember, there needs to be an ample amount of lightness and dark. It's not just like one shade of darkness and then one tint of lightness. And there needs to be gradation, right? There needs to be a lot of transition. And then as you get closer to the middle, you're going to straighten out your strokes more. So in the beginning, you were going this way. And then when you get closer to the center, you're going to kind of go a little straighter. I'm going to create some more dark values over here. And then we're going to draw, remember the light source over here? You're mostly going to probably darken in this cylinder right here, or oval, I should say, because there's not much light in there, right? There's not much light reflecting. So I'm going to draw a cast shadow now. And then I'm going to do a background. Remember, edges. You want to draw edges, not outlines. You want to create edges, I should say. Create edges. And make it interesting, you know. I'm kind of just, going back and forth. Usually I'll just get the image up there, like kind of, fairly quick. And then I'll go back and add details. Like say if I didn't really like these lines right here, I can kind of go back and rub them out. I'm going to create more dark tones over here. So that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. The Zoom meeting went really well. That was a lot of fun. There was some interruptions. Shut it down really quick. But honestly, I was prepared that was going to happen as far as, I wasn't as prepared as I should be, but I've heard some stories of that happening, and, what are you going to do? It's not going to stop us from doing this again, because it was a lot of fun, and it was just so great seeing all your guys' faces, and, and I'm sure they were happy to see my face and, all that good stuff. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this drawing. What I want you to do is I want you to do all the notes, all the exercises, and draw the cups and the vase and one vase. So let me go back and show you again. So yeah, this is it. Okay. Yeah. So take a picture of it and just turn it into Google Classroom. It's due from a week from now, okay? Thanks so much, guys. Take care.